Hello YouTube, Dave here again. Today I am taking a look at the Pathfinder Alchemy Deck for Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Before I get into the review of this equipment card accessory for the 2nd edition of the Pathfinder role-playing game, I do want to state, just for the record, for transparency's sake, that this was sent to me by Paizo Publishing for the purposes of doing a review video. However, as is always the case, they are not scripting the video, they're not pre-screening it, they're not demanding a specific positive review or anything like that. And so the opinions that I express in this video are 100% completely and totally my own. But I do appreciate the fact that they sent this out, because I have been a huge fan of pretty much all of the accessories that Paizo has been putting out for both the Starfinder and Pathfinder role-playing game. And this is one that I think is going to be very, very useful. I've either GM'd or played in some Pathfinder 2nd edition games, and one of the more popular classes to try out in that edition, at least from my own personal experiences, has always seemed to be the Alchemist. There was always somebody in my groups that was playing an Alchemist character, but one thing that was always kind of a mild annoyance or sort of an inconvenience was trying to find the specific location for some of their alchemical items. Now, I will chalk a lot of that up to the fact that it was a new game system to all of us, so we weren't super comfortable looking through the core rulebook or had, everything wasn't second nature at that point in time. However, I will still say that this is something that I think is going to be incredibly handy. All of the equipment card sets that I've seen, accessories from Pathfinder 2nd Edition, has all been great stuff so far, and I don't think this is going to be any exception. So let's just take a look here. So this is the Alchemy deck. It does contain 110 cards. The retail price on this is $22.99 US. Get it to focus there. So $22.99, and then on the back it does read, "The lab is open. Who needs magic when you have science? A healing elixir, explosive bomb, or liberating solvent can make all the difference in a day filled with harrowing adventures." The Pathfinder Alchemy deck contains cards detailing every alchemical item from the Pathfinder Core Rulebook, the Advanced Players and the Advanced Players Guide, including bombs, elixirs, mutagens, poisons, and more. Each card features statistics, descriptions, and beautiful full-color illustrations. Keep each flask and vial at the ready. Now, in addition to just having the game statistics for each of the items, that's great, like, don't get me wrong, but I personally, as a game master, I love the idea of having the artwork on the cards, and we're going to take a look here, but just as a prediction, with the Pathfinder accessories, they pretty much always use unique art for each of their items. So I would, as a game master, I would love to include some of these as like found items or treasure, and instead of telling them what it is, just give them a description of what the liquid or the vial that it's in sort of looks like, and then let that be, something that they have to try to figure out. So I really like that idea. So what we're going to do is we're just going to get the cards out of the box and out of the plastic, and I will be right back. Okay, so the cards are out. We're not going to read every single, one that's here. We will take a look at least one or two of the cards just to give you an idea of what they look like. But I will go and show the artwork on the backs of each of the cards. So, like I said, 110 cards. It is packaged in two bundles there. We're just going to move that one off to the side. And we're just going to take a look here. The first thing we have are instructions. And the instructions read, "The Pathfinder Alchemy Deck includes cards for each alchemical item from the Pathfinder Core Rulebook and the Pathfinder Advanced Player's Guide. Multiple cards are provided for some common alchemical items, such as acid flasks or elixirs of life, since those items appear frequently during play and might get shared among a band of adventurers. Each kind of alchemical wonder is activated in different ways. Bombs are flung, elixirs are drunk, and other concoctions might each have their own method of use. The full rules for alchemical items begin on page 543 of the Core Rulebook." And then just continue on the back here. Okay, so it says some alchemical items feature or follow additional rules. All page numbers refer to the Core Rulebook. Alchemical bombs are a kind of thrown martial weapon. They are activated when thrown as a strike. Alchemical bombs are detailed on page 544. Elixirs are drunk to convey the variety of effects, so they are usually activated when you interact to drink it yourself or feed it to a nearby creature. Mutagens are elixirs that can reshape the body to provide benefits, but also have drawbacks. Elixirs are detailed on page 546, again of the Core Rulebook. And poisons can impose any number of negative effects on those unlucky enough to be exposed to them. Poisons are typically applied to weapons scattered in the air or introduced into food or drink. Poisons are described on page 550. And lastly, alchemical tools use reagents and chemicals to produce a wide variety of unique effects. See each alchemical tool for its method of activation and its effects. So there we go. So that's that. The next card is just the D20 license. And okay, so we got... Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. So the first card that we actually have here is Infused Reagents. So you infuse reagents with your alchemical essence, with your own alchemy. So this is for the alchemist class, allowing you to create alchemical items at no cost. Each day during your daily preparations, you gain a number of batches of infused reagents equal to your level plus your intelligence modifier. You can use these reagents for either advanced alchemy or quick alchemy, as described on page 72 of the Core Rulebook. Together, these infused reagents have a light bulk. As soon as you make your next daily preparations, your infused reagents from the previous day's preparations are instantly destroyed, and non-permanent effects of your previous day's infused items immediately end. While infused reagents are physical objects, they can't be duplicated, preserved, or created in any way other than your daily preparations. Any such artificial reagents lack the infusion and are useless for advanced alchemy or quick alchemy. Okay, so this is for, again, like for the class feature for the alchemist class, and it actually does have the artwork here with sort of the alchemical kit with some vials and some tools there for creating those reagents, so that's really cool. And then here we have, so this is what I really like about, this type of product here, because with Pathfinder 2nd Edition, there are various levels of many of these alchemical items. So the first one that we have here is the Acid Flask. So it's acid alchemical, it's a bomb, it's consumable, meaning that it's destroyed once it is utilized, and it uses or deals splash damage. Usage is held in one hand, it's considered to be light bulk, so light bulk, it takes 10 items of light bulk to equal a single bulk, which is used for things like carrying capacity. So if you have 9 of them, for example, it doesn't contribute to your encumbrance, but once you gain that 10th one, that's when it sort of applies. So it is activated with a strike. This flask filled with corrosive acid deals 1 acid damage, the listed persistent acid damage, and the listed splash damage. Many types grant an item bonus to attack rolls. So here we have the lesser one, so it deals 1d6 persistent and acid damage, 1d6 persistent acid damage and 1 splash damage. The moderate one, which is level 3 and is 10 gold. You gain a +1 item bonus to attack rolls, and it deals 2d6 persistent damage and 2 splash damage. Then you've got the next level, which gives you a +2 item bonus to the attack rolls and deals 3d6 persistent and 3 splash. And then the highest level, the major one, you gain a +3 item bonus to attack rolls, and the bomb deals 46 persistent acid damage and 4 splash damage. So with persistent damage, basically you take that on each of your turns, and at the end of your turn you get to make a flat check, which is just a basic d20 roll, and you have to get a target number on that d20 roll. If you do, then the persistent damage effect ends. If you don't, then you would take that damage again next round, and you can have someone aid you in order to make that roll before it might be your turn. So that's just basically the way that persistent damage works. So we'll take a look at the artwork here. So there you got the bubbly green liquid, and again, one of the great things that Paizo does with these equipment decks is the more common stuff, they will give you multiple cards. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 for acid flasks. Then the next one that we have here is Alchemist Fire. So again, I'm not going to go through all of these. Like, this is the same principle as the acid flask. So again, it just gives you the different types, the different levels that you can create or that you can purchase with for this type of item. And yeah, so here we have the Alchemist Fire. And that's sort of like the clay pot that it comes in. Again, looks really cool. And there's 2, 3, 4 of those as well. Blight Bomb. So again, I'll read once we get to like an elixir or something else, then we'll sort of go, because it is different, just to give you an idea of how they're structured. But this is, again, another bomb. A Blight Bomb, looks like it deals poison damage. And that, yeah, that doesn't look friendly. Okay, so that's one more uncommon one, so we only got one of those. Then we've got Bottled Lightning, which again is something that you use as a strike. I actually kind of like it almost looks like a fuse with like the electricity coming out. That's pretty cool. And there's 2, 3 of those. Crystal Shards. So again, another alchemical bomb. So you throw it. Actually, I will read this one because it is a little bit different from what we've seen before. So I'm not going to go through every single one of these. But it says, this flask holds a pressurized gas flecked with bits of sublimated crystal. You gain the listed item bonus to attack rolls. When the bomb explodes, it deals listed piercing damage and piercing splash damage as the mixture suddenly turns into flying shards. Surfaces in the splash area grow brittle crystals that crumble after 1 minute. Crystals on level surfaces are caltrops. Those on vertical surfaces become handholds. So you can actually technically use this to aid you climbing a sheer like surface. So that's actually kind of neat. Granting the listed item bonus to the next athletics check to climb the space. So crystals in each space crumble after the creature leaves. So for the handhelds, once you utilize it and you remove your hand or your foot from it, then it does crumble and disappears. So the moderate version of it is a 4th level item. It gives you a +1 item bonus, and it deals 2d4 piercing and 4 piercing slash damage. And then the greater type at level 12 is a +2 to the item bonus. So again, it will give you +2 to your athletics checks to climb. And it deals 3d4 piercing with 5 splash damage. And then at the major one, which is an 18th level item, 4,000 gold. Holy crud. Gives you a +3 item bonus, deals 4d6 piercing and, or sorry, 46 piercing damage and 6 splash damage. So that's pretty cool as well. The Dread Ampule. So again, I'm not going to read through all of these. We're just going to look at some of the artwork here. This one I actually kind of like. I think this was on the back cover, yeah. So it's basically like just a sphere, a crystal sphere that you throw, and when you use it to strike, a murky purple gas that briefly interferes with normal brain activity. So that's pretty nasty there. And then we got a Frost Vial. And again, there's going to be multiple ones of these. These are some of your low-level ones that you would probably start with if you were an alchemist. Ghost Charge. Tangle Footbag, which again also functions like a bomb. I love the artwork for some of these things. They're so cool. Because I've always thought of a Tangle Footbag as basically just like a leather sack with maybe like a drawstring, and then when you throw it, the stuff kind of comes out. But I actually like the way that they do the artwork here for Pathfinder. Here we got the Thunderstone. Which again, there's multiple of those. They look really cool. Sorry if I accidentally cover the artwork for some of these. I am a lefty. It is my curse. Antidote. So this is something that can actually give you a bonus to fortitude saves against poison. The different levels just give you a greater bonus. And the major one, when you drink it, you gain the bonus, +4 bonus. And when you drink the antidote, you can immediately attempt to save against poison of 14th level or lower, affecting you. If you succeed, the poison is neutralized. So otherwise, normally the antidote is something that can help you with like the secondary damage of poison. So that's kind of cool. or grants you a bonus for a certain amount of hours. And yeah, sorry. So it grants you a bonus for a certain amount of hours, and then with the major one, if you drink it while you're poisoned, you can immediately attempt the saving throw. And again, I love the artwork for these. Multiple antidotes, anti-plague. So same kind of thing, except it is for diseases. And it is green, of course, because green is nature. And green is life juice. Bestial Mutagen. Okay, so this is the first mutagen. So we'll read through this particular one. We're not going to go through all of them, but when we do find something a little different, we'll sort of read so you can get an idea of how the cards function. So this is a mutagen, like I said. So your features transform into something bestial or bestial, and you take on muscle mass, but your lumbering form is clumsy. So with mutagens, they give you, like I said, they give you a benefit, but they have some sort of drawback. So the benefit is you gain an item bonus to athletics checks and unarmed strike or unarmed attack rolls, and you gain the claw unarmed attack with the agile trait and a jaws unarmed attack. But the drawback is you take a -1 penalty to armor class and a -2 penalty to reflex saves. So cool stuff there. Again, higher level ones just give you different stuff. Okay. Actually, we will read this because I was wondering if they were going to do that or not. I don't think it actually really specified, which they normally do. But some of these are a little bit longer, so they will actually, instead of using both sides of the card because they want to have the artwork, they actually will, if they're something that can be done on 2 cards, they will actually print the additional effects on the second card. So we did the basic form of it here, so we'll take a look. So the lesser one is gives you a +1 bonus. Item bonus, your claws deal 1d4 slashing, your jaws deal 1d6 piercing, and the duration is 1 minute. For the moderate one, you gain a +2 item bonus. Your claws deal 1d6 slashing, and your jaws deal 1d8 piercing damage, and the duration is 10 minutes, so it increases from there. And then continued on next card. So there's probably only going to be 1 copy of this one, I would imagine. But we do have the greater and the major one. So the greater gives you a +3 item bonus, 1d8 for the claws, slashing, and your jaws deal... your jaws deal damage in the duration. Okay, so I guess it's a d8 for both. And then the major gives you a +4 item bonus. Your claws deal 1d8 slashing, and your jaws deal 1d10 piercing damage. The duration is 1 hour. You gain weapon specialization with claws and jaws, or greater weapon specialization if you already have weapon specialization for these unarmed attacks. So pretty cool stuff there. Whoops. And then we just have an elixir underneath. So elixirs are kind of like potions, basically. You just consume them, you drink them, you use the interact action to activate, which it says there. And it says this lets you pinpoint your foes for the next 5 minutes. Your alchemical bomb strikes reduce the circumstance bonus to AC your target's gain from cover. The lesser one gives you reduces by 1, and then the greater version of it reduces any sort of cover bonus that your enemies may have by 2. So it's cool stuff there. We got Bravo's Brule. Sorry, I saw the L for bulk, and I threw that onto the word. Bravo's Brew. So here we go. Okay, that one I can appreciate. And we got the Cat's Eye Elixir. So again, we're not going to go through all of these here. It's just something to basically just show you what's in here. Let you see the artwork because that can be a huge selling point. The Cognitive Mutagen. It looks like this one is all on 1 card. Compression Elixir. This bitter draft opens your mind to the potential of the written word. Oh, sorry, comprehension, not compression. I can read, I promise you. Dark Vision Elixir. Drakeheart Mutagen. And that is a 2-card one. We got the Eagle Eye Elixir. That looks pretty cool. Elixir of Life. So this is basically like your healing potions. So again, I'm not going to read through them just because they're common stuff, but we will show the artwork, and I'm sure there's going to be multiple copies of that one. I actually like the fact that they didn't just use just the vial with like the cork stopper and a red liquid, which, you know, a lot of healing potion type of items always look like. I actually like the fact that they make them look like, you know, something a little bit more exotic or less obvious, we'll say. And for me, as a game master, I would love to use the description of the container that it's in as the description of the item, instead of just saying you find a, you know, a red liquid inside of a stopper, right? Or a stopped flask. Elixir of Rejuvenation. Okay, so that looks more like your traditional healing item kind of thing. Focus Cathartic. Infiltrator's Elixir. Okay, this one I kind of want to read because the name sounds interesting. Favored by spies and tricksters, an infiltrator's elixir is used to alter your appearance. When imbibed, you take the shape of a humanoid creature of your size, but different enough so you might be unrecognizable. If you aren't a humanoid, you might take on a form similar to your own at the GM's discretion. The creator of the elixir decides the basics of the appearance you transform into when you imbibe the elixir, including eye color, skin tone, and hair color. The elixir can't change your form into a specific person. So you can't use it to impersonate somebody else. You can just use it so that if you get seen or caught, or if there's witnesses, their descriptions will not be accurate to what you look like. And after the form takes hold, you retain it for the next 10 minutes. Drinking this elixir counts as setting up a disguise to impersonate. You gain a +4 status bonus to Deception DC to avoid others seeing through your disguise. And you add your level to this DC even if you're untrained. So that's pretty cool. Juggernaut Mutagen. Okay, I'm just going to read the benefits and the drawbacks of this one because, again, it seems interesting. You gain an item bonus to Fortitude saves and the listed number of temporary hit points. Whenever you are at maximum hit points for at least a full minute, you regain the temporary hit points. Okay, that's interesting. The drawback is you get a -2 penalty to will saves, perception checks, and initiative rolls. So yeah, you're hardy, but you're a little dim-witted, I guess, would be sort of the drawback to that. Unobservant is what they use there. But we do have another one here, so there are a couple of copies of that one. Then we got the Leaper's Elixir, which just gives you a, looks like a bonus to high jumps. And, oh, you can do, for 1 minute, you can do the high jump or the long jump as a single action instead of 2. So that's kind of neat. And then we got the Mist Form Elixir. That one looks awesome. I love that effect. I think that's so cool. So up next, we have the Olfactory Obfuscator. Again, I'm not going to read through all of these here. Just if we come across the new types. This is an elixir. So we've got that. We got the artwork there. Again, I love the artwork on them. I think they did a really cool job with that. Quicksilver Mutagen. The Salamander Elixir, so you are protected from the effects of extreme heat. Sea Touch Elixir. Okay, that's pretty accurate. So like I said, here in Nova Scotia, we got quite a few like seafood places, and I swear almost every single one of them has something like this as a decoration somewhere in the restaurant. So you know, kudos for that one. I think they did a good job with that. Serene Mutagen. A Silver Tongue Mutagen. Sinew Shock Serum. A Needle, lovely. Stone Fist Elixir. Winter Wolf Elixir, so that allows you to reduce the effects of extreme cold. Okay, so here, actually, we do have a poison. I don't think we've covered that yet. So in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, the way poisons work is when you're subjected to it, there's like an onset time. Once the onset time has expired, the character starts making fortitude saving throws. And if they fail, then they become poisoned. And most poisons will have 2 to 3 stages. Most of them have 3 stages, and some of them can get pretty nasty. Like, well, there are several poisons where stage 3 is literally death. And the reason, like the fact that there is the onset time, like that's kind of one of the reasons why the antitoxin that we saw earlier has a duration that lasts for quite some time. So if you think you might be going into a situation where, you know, poisoning could be a real thing, then you would take that first, and then, you know, you get the bonus to it when you have to make the saving throws. I personally prefer asking for the saving throws at the end of the onset time, simply because in real life, if you eat poison or eat something that's poisoned, you don't necessarily know it right away until the poison actually takes effect. So asking someone to make a fortitude saving throw the second they ingest something, you know, really, you know, gives things away. So I like to wait for the, you know, the onset duration before, you know, the saving throws. So like I said, you make your saving throw. If you pass the initial one, then you're not poisoned. You suffer no ill effects. If you fail, then you enter stage 1. Now, on every round afterwards, and most poisons will have a maximum duration of time that you can be affected by it. But that said, it still can get pretty bad. So if you succeed on your saving throw, you reduce your poison stage level by 1. So if you were at level 1 and you succeeded, you are no longer poisoned. If you get a critical success, then you reduce your poison stage by 2. So if you were at stage 2, for example, and you got a critical success, then you are no longer poisoned because you reduced that to 2, which means you're now at 0. And if you were at 3 and you get a critical success, then you're knocked back down to 1, so you're only 1 saving throw away from shaking it off. If you fail the saving throw, you progress to the next stage. And if you get a critical failure, I believe you progress 2 stages. So you can go from stage 1 to stage 3 pretty quickly if you roll poorly enough. Now, each time you enter a new stage, either increasing to the next level or being able to decrease down a level based on a successful saving throw, you still take whatever the effect is. I'll give you an example here in a moment. So we've got arsenic here. Saving throw is a DC 18 fortitude. The onset is 10 minutes after being exposed, and the maximum duration is 5 minutes. That's 50 rounds of combat, so you probably don't want to let it go that long if you can avoid it. Now again, once you reach, like, if you go from stage 1 to stage 0, you're fine. And the duration no longer matters at that point. So stage 1, if you fail your initial saving throw or enter stage 1 either from failing that initial one or reducing back down to stage 1, then you take 1d4 poison damage and you're sickened 1 for 1 minute. With stage 2, you take 1d6 poison damage and you become sickened 2 for 1 minute. And then if you reach stage 3, it's 2d6 poison damage and you're sickened 3 for 1 minute. Now, if you basically only suffer the most negative effect to you when it comes to the condition. So if you start at sickened 1 and then become sickened 2, after that, you don't add the numbers together, you just take whichever is worse. But the duration, I believe, does reset to that 1 minute once you enter the new stage. So yeah, like I said, if you were at stage 3, for example, and you take the 2d6 poison damage, and on your next turn you succeed and go back down to stage 2, you still take the 1d6 poison damage from that. So that's one thing to keep in mind, and that's actually one of the things that I really like about the way poison works in Pathfinder 2nd Edition, because it's not just a all or nothing type of thing. It actually has like sort of a lasting effect, and I like the way that they handle it with the multiple stages, and even the fact that if you're starting to get over the poisoning, it's still kind of mildly affecting you. So I like the way that poisons are handled in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. So we do have, like I said, we have arsenic there, we got belladonna, and we'll see here, because some of these ones, black adder venom, so some of these will have stage 3 is just death. Black lotus extract, 20d6 poison damage, and drained 2 for 1 round. So drained, I think that limits the amount of actions. So you normally get 3 actions to take. If you're drained 2, you lose 2 actions. But that's pretty nasty. Stage 1. Now this is a level 19 item. So you shouldn't be dealing with this at low levels. But like stage 1, is 15d6 damage. Stage 2 is 17d6 damage. And then 20d6 damage. So if you go like from 1 to 2 to 3, that's what, 30... Was that 62? No, sorry, not 62. Like 42, 52 d6 damage. Again, I can do math. It's just late at night when I'm doing this. I promise. Blightburn Resin. So another poison. Brimstone Fumes. I like that one. Cerulean Scourge. I actually haven't seen any yet where the effect of stage 3 is death. I'm starting to wonder if maybe I'm just remembering that wrong. Deathcap Powder. Dragon Bile. Giant Centipede Venom. Actually, no, maybe that's diseases. Maybe diseases have a progression where you just die from them. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Giant Scorpion Venom. I hope it's in a decanter that looks like a scorpion. Not quite, but it kind of looks like a scorpion's claw. Giant Wasp Venom. Grave Root. Hemlock. Hunting Spider Venom. Okay, so the scorpion one doesn't quite look like a scorpion, but they still make the spider one kind of look like a spider. Don't know how I feel about that. King's Sleep. What's that? Leaden Leg. Oh, another needle. Lethargy Poison, or Lethargy Poison. So that just puts you to sleep. Lich Dust. Molasse Root Paste. Mind Fog Mist. Yeah, I think it must be, I must have been remembering diseases that have just the final stage is death. Needleweed Residue. Nightmare Vapor. Don't know if I like the sounds of that one. I do like the purple color though. Purple Worm Venom, speaking of purple. Okay, that one looks cool. Shadow Essence. Negative Energy. Slumber Wine. A sleep effect. Spider Root. They're going to make the root look like a spider. Oh, no, okay, thankfully they have the mortar and pestle. Tears of Death. Wow, okay, so that's a 20th level one. 18d6, 25d6, and 30d6 damage. Stage 1, 2, and 3. Remember, if you go from stage 3 to stage 2, you take that 25d6 again. That's nasty. So death isn't, automatically guaranteed. It kind of looks like the videos of, vitamins put in the oven and how some of them kind of expand or melt. But, yeah, you can take a crap ton of damage, so it's still all but assured for some characters. Wolfsbane. Wyvern Poison. Bloodhound Mask. Okay, so these must be some of the tools. Forensic Dye. Activating this vial of colorless liquid requires inserting a small amount of another chemical. I think this is, what is this? Just basically the stuff that lets you find blood. Once activated, the dye remains potent for up to 10 minutes, during which time you can spend 1 minute to brush it onto a single object of one bulk or across the ground in a single 5-foot square. When it comes into contact with an exact match. Oh, okay, so the activating chemical. Okay, so you can search for specific different chemicals based on what it is. So that's kind of neat. And they actually show them mixing the liquids together. That's cool. Ghost Ink. So this would be like the disappearing ink. Okay, here we go. So we got a Origin Unguent. So the shimmering violet unguent forms mild chemical bonds between objects with a matching composition. You apply the adhesive to 2 objects or an object and a creature. You can check if the 2 share an origin. Okay. It's kind of interesting. The Philosopher's Stone. And that is continued on the next card. So we got another one of those there. Silver Sheen. Skin Stitch Salve. So this looks like a healing item that you can use. The Smoke Stick. Gotta have snake oil. Sovereign Glue. I wonder if the universal solvent's in here. Sunrod. Oh, that's pretty cool. Timeless Salts. I don't know why, but when I hear like Timeless Salts, I think of like the pictures that you sometimes see on Facebook. It's like, you know, this Himalayan, salt that's, hundreds of thousands or millions of years old. It's been sitting, in this like cave or wherever they find it for hundreds of thousands of years, and then after they mine it, it expires in 2 months, right? It's just a weird kind of way that the food stuff has to be labeled, but I don't know why. It just reminds me of that I guess meme. Then we got the Tinder Twig, which is essentially like a match, and there's universal solvent. All right, so all in all, this is a great set of cards. And I love the way that Paizo sort of has attention to, attention to detail might not be the right terminology here, but the fact that they understand that some of these things are, like I said, commonplace, or things that multiple characters may all have at the same table. So rather than forcing everyone to buy their own card set or to share a single card if they all have the same, like Elixir of Life or something along those lines, for the more commonplace ones, they will give you like the multiple cards. And that's something that other equipment card sets that I've done videos on in the past, that's something that I don't recall other companies really doing, or if they do, it's like only for like the potion of healing, and then everything else, even if they might be more commonly used, they typically only give you like 1 copy. So, but with this set, they give you several copies of, again, the more commonly utilized alchemical objects that you may come across. So I really like the fact that they've, accounted for that in here. And again, each of the cards has their own unique artwork on the back. It's not one of those things where they just, use the same like vials and just have them with different colors or like different swirled color patterns or things like that. Like they could have taken that out and I still probably would have enjoyed the product, but the fact that they actually do come up with these really awesome designs, even the Elixir of Life, one of the most common things out there that you normally think of is just this glass vial with a stopper in it and this red liquid inside. They actually made it look cool. It made it look different from what you would normally expect for something as simple as your kind of common healing potion. So the creativity and the art direction on these products is really second to none. And I cannot, express enough how impressive that is, that they really do take the time, again, for something that is just an accessory that they could have cut corners on if they really wanted to. They didn't. They actually, went the extra mile and had some really creative artwork for a lot of these items. So I definitely recommend picking this up if you are a player or a game master for Pathfinder 2nd edition. Then this is something that I think you need to have at your table, because like alchemical items come up frequently, and it's just nice to have these as quick references. If you're running a pre-written adventure, for example, and they have these items listed in treasure or available at certain shops, then you can actually have the cards ready before you even begin the session. So the second the characters come across them, you can distribute the cards. Or use the artwork, again, to describe the item and maybe even show the item without necessarily giving the players exactly what it is. So just some really awesome stuff overall. And again, I highly, highly recommend this. For $22.99, I think this is something that can get a ton of use. And you don't even necessarily have to be an alchemist character to get the most out of this. But it's something that, again, I think every group should have at their table, so I definitely recommend it. Anyway, let me know in the comments below, what are some of your favorite alchemical items from Pathfinder 2nd Edition? And if you have the deck, or if you plan on getting the deck, are you going to use the artwork to describe the items rather than just simply telling them some of the more mundane things? So let me know that in the comments below. Thank you very much once again to Paizo for sending this out. I really do appreciate it, and I want to thank each and every one of you who's taken time out of your day to watch this. It really does mean a lot to me. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you come back for the next video. Until then, take care.